I photo walked through Tokyo for 6 days straight, 30,000 steps per day. In this video I will share everything that I learned. For example, what is the best focal length to capture Tokyo? What is the best camera settings when shooting at night? And why Tokyo is the only megacity where I would gladly walk alone through a pitch black cemetery at night. Day 1. I arrived in rush hour, which is always a bit of a challenge when you have big unwieldy bags, but I squeezed into the train and got to my Airbnb. My Airbnb was slightly west of Shinjuku, and my goal for day 1 was to walk to Ishihama Shrine. I had seen a photo by fellow YouTuber Noel's over there, and it was beautiful and it felt like a cool location, so I wanted to go there. But first I had to take a 2-hour nap because I was so tired and exhausted from flying for 13 hours from Sweden. The weather report said it would be raining heavily, but I came prepared. I walked the whole day with rubber boots and a big umbrella. Unfortunately though, the rain never came, so I felt a bit betrayed. I was really tired towards the end, and my shoulders and feet hurt. But I made it to Ishihama Shrine and I got the shot. Thank you so much Noels for inspiring me to come here and to get this photo. My main lesson that I learned on day 1 is Tokyo looks very good at night. You should try to do some night photography if you visit. Day 2. Today I set out towards Tokyo Tower. And today I also realized what the best night shooting settings are in Tokyo, as I will tell you in a moment. Today I saw beautiful fall colors and light as I passed through the Yoyogi Park and the famous Meiji Shrine. After it got dark I passed by a cemetery and I decided to walk in there. I love being spontaneous like this, and I would never ever walk into a pitch black cemetery after dark in any other big city in the world. But Tokyo is so very safe. Violent crime here is basically unheard of, so I didn't feel scared at all to walk by myself in this cemetery. Yesterday I was shooting with my Samyang 35mm f1.8 lens, which I felt is the perfect focal length to capture Tokyo. You have a lot of pretty big buildings, so you wanna go fairly wide, and the bright f1.8 max aperture really comes in handy at night if you hate tripods like I do. Yesterday I had been cold, really cold at night, so today I prepared better by having a very warm hat as well as wool underpants and a wool undershirt. And the weather report said no rain, so it felt very luxurious to switch from rubber boots to my very well cushioned Hoka Bondi 9 shoes. According to me, the best shoes in the world for long walks. Today I also added a 1/4 strength Tiffen Pro Mist filter for some nice sweet bloom, and I'm really happy I did. I am super pleased with this shot, very easy shot to make, but very beautiful. My main lesson learned on day 2 is that when shooting at night in a city, it is a very good idea to set exposure compensation to -1 or even -2 on your camera to capture the highlights well. Otherwise, I just tried to shoot wide open, f1.8 most of the time. I used a shutter speed of around 1/15th to 1/30th of a second, as that is the slowest I can go with my lens and my IBIS on my camera and still get sharp photos. And I let the ISO adjust itself by using auto ISO. Day 3. Today my goal was the Imperial Palace. And today I realized the unexpected reason why I think Tokyo is the best city in the world to do photo walks. First I passed the Suga Shrine, which I did on purpose because the stairs leading up there to the shrine are from a very famous scene in my favorite Japanese movie, Your Name. And I really wanted to capture this scene and see it for myself. As I was walking towards the palace along a pretty long and boring road, I got the idea to try to capture cars in motion. I had seen other photographers do this in some Asian cities, so I wanted to try it for myself. And you can get pretty cool photos by doing this. Simply follow the cars with your camera, and I found that 1/20th of a second is the sweet spot for exposure time. But day 3 was one of the most boring days, but I'm still happy with some of the photos that I got today. I also tried the app Toilet Finder, which is freaking amazing. Never ever throughout the whole trip I had to walk more than 3 minutes to the nearest free public toilet, and the Toilet Finder app, which is completely free, always helped me find the nearest toilet. Such a good app. My main lesson learned on day 3 is that even if parts of Tokyo can be a bit boring, it is always so enjoyable to walk around here because of the plentiful free public toilets everywhere, and the konbinis, the small stores like 7-Eleven, Family Mart and Lawson, where you can find affordable, super yummy snacks and drinks. Day 4. Today I learned the very best focal length for photographing Tokyo, and I will tell you in a moment. I began the day close to where yesterday's walk ended, and I set out eastwards with the goal of passing Akihabara Electric Town, Kappabashi the kitchenware heaven, Asakusa the famous shrine, and Tokyo Skytree. And today I found a new way of editing photos where I decrease the contrast a lot to get almost like a film look. What do you think? I am personally very pleased with this look. I will teach you more details about the editing of these photos in my book from this trip that I will tell you about at the end of this video. I was still shooting with my Sony A1 and the Samyang 35mm f1.8 lens and the Pro Mist filter today. But I got a little bit bored with it, so I tried switching to my sidearm, my Ricoh GR3X, for a while, just to see how it would feel. And it was also enjoyable, but I did feel that the 40mm equivalent focal length on the GR3X is a bit too tight for Tokyo. The Asakusa area is filled to the brim with shops and restaurants, and it's basically heaven for a street photographer. I can really recommend to go here, especially at night. Today my main lesson learned was that the optimal focal length for Tokyo is probably between 28 and 35mm. And that is because of all the huge buildings that you may want to capture in combination with a lot of tight spaces. Day 5. Today I walked through an area where one of the world's most famous YouTubers supposedly lives. Did I meet him? I'll tell you in a moment. Even though I think 35mm is the perfect focal length for Tokyo, I wanted to challenge myself a bit today and to switch things up. So I went with my Samyang 75mm lens. My sleep schedule is still pretty messed up because of the 8-hour time difference between Sweden and Japan. So basically I wake up every night at 1 AM and stay awake for like 4 or 5 hours, so that's a bit annoying. Today's walk began at Nakano Broadway, which is a great mall where you can find all sorts of bargains. I bought some Pokemon cards for my son, and then I began my photo walk. Japan always gives me nostalgic vibes from my childhood in the late 80s and early 90s. I guess this is because Japan's economy peaked back then, and a lot of that era has become ingrained. Gas station attendants, kids ride bike without helmets, car designs with a lot of chrome, and certain kinds of candy that was popular back in the 80s in Sweden, they are still popular here today. Today I was aiming for the famous cat temple, but unfortunately I planned badly today, so when I got there it was already dark and the temple gates were closed. So I began walking towards Shibuya Crossing instead as my last stop for the day, as it was not too far away and since no Tokyo photo walk would be complete without it. At Shibuya Crossing, I used my Ricoh GR3X against light poles to get stability, and I took some long exposures. These are roughly 4 seconds long. So the neighborhood I walked through today was called Satagaya, and supposedly PewDiePie lives somewhere around there. I did not spot him today though. Day 6. On my last day I took a train out to Kamakura, which is a coastal town south of central Tokyo. It takes about an hour to go there. I did a big mistake today though when I was trying to photograph Mount Fuji, and I will tell you about that in a minute. The air was so incredibly fresh here, and I thoroughly enjoyed this excursion. Today I used my Tamron 28 to 75mm f2.8 lens, as I would be out in the daylight mostly, so I could afford to use a smaller aperture lens. It was really windy, I got sand in my eyes and probably in my camera as well. And I asked ChatGPT where to photograph Mount Fuji, and it suggested Cape Imaragusaki, so I walked there. Unfortunately, Mount Fuji was hidden behind mist, but after some struggling in Lightroom, I uncovered some bits of Mount Fuji. I was very happy with this edit, because it kind of makes the photo feel like a painting, doesn't it? Today I learned that while December is a really good month to view Mount Fuji, I should have gone here in the morning for an even better chance for a clear view. So I guess next time I'll go here in the morning. I really enjoyed this trip, and I can warmly recommend Tokyo as a photography destination. During the trip, when I wasn't walking, I was writing on my 151-page ebook with all my best tips for traveling to Japan, how to pack, how to prepare for the trip, how to get through customs easily and so on, what areas were my favorites for photography, as well as over 100 of my best photos with all my camera settings, and Google Maps links so you can see exactly where I took each photo. Go to my shop, grab a copy of my new ebook about this trip, Tokyo Photography Guide.